Hello everybody, welcome to Action Figure Evolution. It's what I've decided that my YouTube channel is going to be very specific about. There's a lot of people out there that do reviews of action figures and criticism of action figures, and I feel that there's enough of those channels out there. So if you're interested in things like that, then I think you should seek those channels out. But what this channel is going to specifically deal with is the evolution of action figures from the past until today. So today, what you have assembled before you are the Shogun Warriors collector figures, and they were made by Mattel in 1979. The action figures here are Poseidon and the Grandier, Dagon, or Dragon, and the Grand Mazigna. So they're made of die-cast metal, and the bodies are made of die-cast metal, and the heads, arms, and legs are cast in a plastic, and the arms and the legs have limited articulation. The Shogun Warriors were licensed from Japan's Poppy Toys by Mattel in 1979. The characters were taken from manga and anime popular in Japan and were licensed by Mattel as the Shogun Warriors. The action figures were produced in different scales. There was an 18-inch scale cast in plastic and a 5 and 3-inch scale which were cast in die-cast and plastic. What you see before you are the 3-inch figures, and the line was called the Shogun Warriors collector figures. They were packaged in a window box, cardboard box, the plastic window, and they have no accessories came with them. Just the figure itself was given into the packages. They had the larger scale figures had a lot of action features to them. They came with rockets that would fire off of the figure itself. Towards the end of the 1970s, these kind of fell out of favor because of parents groups that were concerned with choking hazards. So the line somewhat fizzled out due to those constraints due to child safety to the toy lines. When you try and find the larger scale 18-inch figures out into the collector's markets, you'll find that the majority of them are incomplete and are missing the accessories. So the Shogun Warriors had really no TV, or they had no TV line, so they didn't have a TV show. But what they did have commercial markets that were shown during the TV shows at the time. The commercials are really kind of neat, and I would suggest after you watch this video to search them out on YouTube. They're all available there. Also, a Marvel comic line was produced for the Shogun Warriors, and that comic book ran for, I believe, 20 or so issues, maybe 25 issues, and it also ties in with our guest star that will appear later on in this episode. The Shogun Warriors now, their appeal is varied among the taste of action figure collectors. Those that collect robot stuff, anime, manga, action figures, and die-cast really do enjoy this Shogun Warriors line, and I do too. The ones that you see here before us were my childhood originals. I was given these by my parents when I was a kid. They've stayed with me my whole life. As you can see, there's dings and chips in the paints on the die-cast, but that just shows that they were well loved and well played with at the time. The Shogun Warriors were really the proving ground by Mattel that you could license characters from foreign countries like Japan and rebrand them with your own name and then market them out to kids. And later on, into the 1980s, lines like Voltron and the Transformers basically owe these figures here their their stuff. Okay, so now let's get a closer look at the figures assembled before us, and take a look at their really kind of neat sculptings that they did. They're definitely iconic. very, very colorful. The die cast and the chrome pieces at the hips are indicative of this particular line, which give it a definite neat look to them. The articulation on them are somewhat limited. The arms come out like so, and the heads do turn on some of them, not all of them. And then the legs themselves have a kind of just a forward motion, not much, enough to somewhat move them forward, and when for playtime, you could pretend like they're walking. So this figure that is in the center of your screen now is actually missing his. There's like 2 earpieces that come out of him. Those are missing at this point in time. But hopefully, some point in time, I'll be able to find a better example of that figure for display. This particular figure here has the neat spikes coming out of the head. Pretty neat. And the arm flares, indicative of Batman now. Haha. And then behind us here is Poseidon. He had a sticker on his face at one point in time. So the sticker's no longer with us. It's been lost to antiquity, but the figure is still with us. Again, all of them had this one here is one of the more difficult ones for standing, because as you can see, the legs don't have really a foot. I've always wondered, the feet are backwards on this, versus the other figures, but it definitely displays this way, because if you look at the back of any of these figures, you'll see it says Japan on them. So the backs were painted and detailed, but definitely not as much as the fronts were. And I know this guy is going to give me a problem standing up. So this figure line here that we've been discussing today, or I've been discussing today, is really the precursor to the Voltron series and the Transformers series that would follow in the 1980s. Mattel, by licensing these figures, basically didn't have to put any effort into building a toy line. They basically just bought a toy line from Poppy Toys in Japan. So the legwork of creating the toys themselves were taken out of their hands, and it made it easier for them to get more things out to the stores, which was important at the time, because the choices then were very limited, and this line definitely sold very, very well for Mattel, and is well regarded amongst most collectors and people that are interested in the collecting hobby. So without any further wait, we're going to introduce the special guest star to this first issue or episode of Action Figure Evolution. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you our special guest for this first episode of Action Figure Evolution, and here he is, Godzilla. Godzilla was also licensed for the Shogun Warriors line. This particular example is the 18-inch Godzilla. Also, there were Shogun Warriors that came in this line. There's a great video or commercial on YouTube that you should check out that explains how Godzilla and the Shogun Warriors are licensed together. The Godzilla figure and comes with basically no accessories other than the figure itself, and the figure itself has some action features. So the big action feature that it has, or one of the big ones, is this tongue that will come out, and as you can see, when you press the lever, the tongue comes sliding out. it rotates on a hip joint located here, and the tail itself is pretty much the counterweight for the figure. There's wheels, so the figure rolls both back and forth. Pretty cool. And the big feature is there's a button that is on the right hand arm. My button is missing, but the trigger mechanism is still there, and when the trigger mechanism would go, the hand would fire off of the figure itself. So pretty neat action feature that was given to this toy. In the aftermarket, finding a loose example or finding an example with the hand is very, very difficult. It's going to cost you quite a bit more money to buy the figure with the hand still there. They do sell reproduction hands. I've seen them out there. They're non-painted, so you'd have to do the legwork yourself and get them painted up. Also, in the aftermarket, if you're interested in buying a Godzilla action figure, are the toes. The toes were, because they were set on wheels, the toes have a tendency to be cracked or broken. My example has a cracked toe. Hopefully it'll show up there. Has one cracked toe, but at least it's all there, and I'm so happy to have them anyways. They also will have, it did come with a removable tail. The tail wasn't really meant to be removed for play, but it was actually there as for the packaging. So basically it would fit in the package properly, because once the tail was installed, the figure becomes quite large, as you can see. And scaled to one of the Shogun Warriors that we've been talking about. These are the 3-inch scale figures, so we'll set him down by the leg of our Godzilla, and you'll see he's huge. Great, because with your 3 3/4 scale figures, had incredible play value. He just towered over the top of your 3 3/4 figures, so you really enjoyed having Godzilla battle your G.I. Joes or battle your Universal monsters. His face is really pretty cool too. So Godzilla in the Shogun Warrior line also had his own Marvel comic. What's very interesting about that is that the Marvel comic does put Godzilla in the continuity of the Marvel Universe. So Godzilla coexisted with S.H.I.E.L.D., he coexisted with the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, the Champions. These characters did interact in the comic books. So seeking out the comic books themselves actually does prove to be kind of fun to read how those stories went. Also, I forgot, in the aftermarket, the trigger mechanism, a lot of the times these were broken. There was a second or a third issue of the figure itself where they beefed up the strength of this. I think this is a third example of that, because it's pretty cool and pretty strong. So that is it for today. Like I've said, and to sum it up, the Shogun Warrior line and the Godzilla line really were the proving grounds for the toy companies in America to purchase foreign licensed figures and to quickly be able to produce, put more product out onto the market for the kids in the late 70s and the early 80s. The want and the need for these toys for children was immense. So they had to do something to get that stuff out there for the kids. So I hope everybody enjoyed this little look at the evolution of toys. My first shot at really talking quite a bit about something and looking at these great toys that I put together over many years, and really have enjoyed and enjoy other people's videos of these toys, and just wanted to share my views on them also. So thanks for watching.